Jeff, what are you hearing from your panelists?
It's very interesting, Sam, that you talk about the Grand Mullah, Ahmednasir Abdullahi, and the tiff with the Supreme Court. And I was asking outgoing LSK President Eric Theuri, your thoughts on this, because is this a matter of principle, what happened, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Jeff, the complaint that a lot of people have is really the principle that the highest court in the land must be seen to act within the law. When they behave in a manner that is vigilante-like, then we have reason to be worried, because the essence, if you look at the constitution-making process and why, as Kenyans, we felt that there was a need to have the Supreme Court, is that we thought that this would be an eminent court that would settle jurisprudential issues, that would clear, conflicting decisions that we used to see in the High Court and in the Court of Appeal, so that you have a higher court composed of judges and eminent jurists that then would be able to give us that distinction. And so when you look at that in terms of where the Supreme Court is placed in terms of hierarchy and the manner in which they have behaved, because it is simple. They may take offense, and I can understand why they took offense with some of those comments that were made by Senior Counsel Ahmednasir. But before you take action, and this is what it said, even in law, we said that even when we get the devil, it must be given due process. So give the devil the due process. And once they do that, then they will be within the law. Because otherwise, then again, it becomes, we'll all become a country of blind people, because it is like an eye for an eye. And you can imagine an eye for an eye from the Supreme Court. I mean, it's not tidy.
We all become blind.
Yeah.
But you know, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. That's what they say. Senior Counsel, what do you think of that? What do you think of what's happening to the Grand Mullah?
First, of course, everybody agrees that that denial of due process, you can't even now begin to ask whether he was right or wrong. Once you deny him due process, he wins. But there's another take to this, which is that apart from them now appearing to punish him, they were also saying that each of them individually, that you have accused me of corruption. Some of them he has actually very categorically stated what he says are amounts that they have taken. And the judge is saying, because you have accused me, I don't think I can be fair to you. So I can't listen to your case. I can't listen to your pleas, and I can't listen to your case, so I recast myself. Unfortunately, that happened to be the entire court. But the court is saying, I think if I listen to your case, I will be biased against you. So I am going to have to disqualify myself. But the overall result was that then the entire court disqualified itself. That he can't win, because would you insist, I know I've accused you of corruption, but I insist you must hear me. You can't do that. So
does that put the Grand Mullah between a rock and a hard place? Is that what it is? Or?
I called it was a devilish cunning by the judges. But it's very cunning.
Yeah.
But on that one, I don't see how you can win that and how you can reverse that, because you cannot insist that somebody who you have made an accusation against is capable of being fair to you. And he's saying, no, I don't think I can be fair to you. I feel very hurt by what you did to me. And I think you will lose this case. So I disqualify myself.
You know, I disagree with my senior colleague, because the case does not belong to Ahmednasir. Ahmednasir is just a mouthpiece for the client. And so the court must be able to separate the person of Ahmednasir from his client and look at the case that is before them and determine it on the merits of that case, whether they like the lawyer or not. And I think that then calls into question whether those judges should actually be sitting at the Supreme Court when they cannot make a very basic distinction that you do not associate. And in fact, even in the universal rules in terms of the independence of the bar, one of the rules is that you cannot associate the advocate with his client's cause. So that, I mean, of course, this is supposed to protect the independence of the bar in the sense that if I'm representing a murderer, you cannot say I am a murderer because I am representing a murderer.
Right.
I mean, that is how it works. But the corollary of it is that if a client has chosen me and the client has the constitutional right to a lawyer of his choice, then when that case is presented before a court, a proper functioning court should be able to separate the lawyer and look at the case and look at the facts. And it's tragic that this court is saying, you know, I don't like what you say about me on other cases, so that I will not give your client justice because of the comments you have made against me.
Right.
It tells you that that is a judge that is unable to separate the issue that is before him and calls into question as to whether they should actually be occupying that office. And I think for us, those are some of the issues that we are looking at.
Right. Senior counsel, you're saying, yeah.
I think we may need to be very careful so that we don't blow hot and cold at the same time. Any semblance of bias in a judge is grounds for recusal. So if for a fact, yes, that if, for instance, Ahmednasir presented the case and the client lost, the client will believe I lost because you don't like my lawyer.
Right.
So where do you strike the balance? What if the judge honestly is very honest and saying, yes, I do feel hurt, and I'm really worried whether I will be able to be biased, or I fear that I might appear to be biased because you have accused me. So then what are the rules of when a judge should disqualify himself or not disqualify himself? Because if he goes ahead and he finds against him, everybody will say, of course, Nani never wins his cases because the judges don't like him.
Right. Good point. We're going to take a break, come back, and talk about the rift between the judiciary and the executive. Mr. President, you were very vocal in that last few months. We'll talk about, I'm sure Sam is going to be talking to the presidential candidates about that. So, yes, that, and then your reaction. What are your thoughts? Who should be the next president of the LSK? Keep tweeting at Kunanga Jeff, at Citizen TV. Can you have the hashtag JK Live? JK Live takes a break. We'll be back.